It is not normal to shut down the government when we don't get what we want.
If the government shuts down, it will be average Americans who suffer most. A government shutdown means seniors who rely on Social Security could be thrown into chaos.
Families will be hurt. Farmers will be hurt.
It's the service members who will work without a paycheck. It's the firefighters who will be furloughed.
This shutdown, you know who's going to feel the pain? You know who it hurts? You. Everyday people. And the most vulnerable. Seniors, veterans, working families, hungry kids, y'all.
Democrats are signaling they're ready for a fight. This time, Schumer tells the Associated Press, quote, things have changed.
It is not normal to shut down the government when we don't get what we want.
The tune has changed, but, you know something very interesting is that when you play chess while others are playing checkers, you always come out on top. Because you're thinking moves ahead while they're just thinking about the next move. And I think that is exactly what the Trump administration is doing. And I'm going to let Peter perfectly lay it out for you because there's a method to the madness. With that being said, let's dive in.
Congratulations, America. The federal government is shut down. That was easy. You probably didn't notice unless you're cashing a check at taxpayer expense like the 740,000 federal workers who are now furloughed, or the army of millions of tax-funded left-wing NGOs that are now cut off. If you're just tuning in, the federal budget is voted 1 year at a time, and it ran out at midnight. Meaning, in theory, the government is not allowed to spend any more money. It is shut down. Of course, the vast majority of government, at least 70%, is exempt and keeps grinding. That includes so-called mandatory spending like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, as well as essential functions like the military, air traffic, courts, and the Department of Justice. The Federal Reserve sadly keeps going since it literally prints its budget in the basement. Now, historically, politicians fear shutdown since our rogue federal oligarchy tries to make them as painful as possible. So rather than cutting, say, welfare to illegals, or gender transitions for federal prisoners, they cut school lunches, firefighters, and shutter national parks, called the Washington Monument Strategy, or Firemen First. But given Donald Trump alone gets to decide what's essential, he can keep the stuff voters want and toss the rest, raising the tantalizing prospect that a shutdown could actually be popular, in which case it could go on for a long time. Now that's fun because shuttering a third of the federal government would instantly balance the budget. It would lay off roughly 740,000 federal workers, in addition to the millions of defunded NGOs. Now, combined with the DOGE layoffs, that would mean more than half of federal workers outside the Post Office and Department of War would be permanently fired. The key is how long does the shutdown last? Because there's a magic number, 61 days, where Trump can permanently lay off those federal workers. This is because you have to give federal workers 60 days notice of termination called reduction in force. So if you're still at shutdown at day 61, you complete the termination. They are gone. On the other hand, if you don't terminate them, then when government tragically reopens, they get back pay for the entire shutdown, even though they didn't work. Now, 61 days would be by far the longest government shutdown. The current record holder is 35 days back in 2018 over Trump's border wall. That one had so little impact, you probably don't remember it. Now, back then, people like Rush Limbaugh urged Trump to keep going, but of course, legacy media was pounding rhinos while Dems controlled the House, so Trump had to give up. This time, he does not have to. Legacy media ain't what it used to be, and rhinos should fear their voters instead of a crippled legacy media. So as next, brought to you by I Trust Capital, prediction market Kalshi is currently projecting just 8 days of shutdown, with 13% odds it lasts longer than 35 days. That implies either Republicans cave, boosting Obamacare subsidies or Medicaid for illegals, or that Democrats cave, saving their government workers despite their Antifa wing and donor wing demanding a fight. So odds are we will not get to that 61-day paradise. Instead, Congress will kick the can once more.
Yes. So, the 61-day mark, some federal employees can be fired permanently. Okay. But then also, we can kind of decide a little bit to a certain extent what's actually deemed essential. So that actually might be a good thing. While saving lots of money because the NGOs are also defunded. So, checkmate. Checkmate. But also, this entire situation has a lot of people pretty angry. Even though the mainstream media, of course, is running their propaganda, as they always do. People aren't buying it.
So the Democrats want to give away $1.4 billion of free money to the immigrants for health care. And if the other side don't agree with it, they talk about shutting down the government. Why do you fight so hard for everybody but your own people? I'm sorry, those folks weren't supposed to be here to begin with. I don't really give two flying. What about us? What about us who struggle to pay for health care? And even though we pay a fortune on our health care, it still ain't enough. It still ain't enough. You still got to come out of pocket for hellish dying because they can't afford health care around this. Are you kidding me? You be dying and have to be airlifted. You know how much that costs? I saw a lady post her bill. It was almost $60,000. That's what we deal with when it comes to health care. Sorry, not sorry. They got to fend for their goddamn self. Help us, Americans, before you worry about helping everybody else. God damn. I'm sick of that. And you know what? I don't even think the money going to the people. The money they want to give to the illegal immigrants, it ain't going to the illegal immigrants. It's going in their pocket.
Oh, I believe that as well. I most definitely think that they have found some kind of loophole to funnel the money back to themselves or to organizations that they control, right? In some way, shape, or fashion. 100%. 100%. But what do y'all think? Let me know. Alan Dershowitz. He's sick of Democrats too, man.
I'm going to be supporting the Republicans in the midterm election. I'm hoping that the Republicans maintain control both of the House and the Senate. The last thing I want is Chuck Schumer to be head of the Senate, or Liz Warren to be chairperson of a committee, or AOC to be chairperson of a committee. The Democrats have not only lost my votes, but they have made me an enemy, essentially, by how they've moved away from American values, Israeli values, and values of decency. So I'm not only no longer a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, but I am a very anti-Democrat. I'm against the Democratic Party. I will do anything to see Mom Donnie defeated.
So while he's not a Republican, right? Fair enough. Okay. He is a liberal. But he is anti-Democrat. Democrats are so terrible that they're turning people into anti-Democrats. Folks who aren't even Republican. That is hilarious, man. That is hilarious. You got to be doing pretty darn terrible to have that happen to you, right? And here's the thing, man. Even with, everything going on with Trump's policies that haven't really taken hold quite yet. And I showed you guys, I can't think of the guy's name. According to some polls, right? It wasn't Atlas Intel or Trafalgar or Rasmussen, but according to some polls, Trump's approval rating has dropped. But here's the thing. Also in those same polls, Democrats' approval rating has dropped even further. So what are they going to do? First off, I don't believe those polls. But even if the trend, right, because, trends can transfer to other polls. If the trend is accurate, Democrats are in some really deep trouble. Because last I checked, they have lost millions of voters, and we're losing thousands upon thousands of other voters after the Charlie Kirk situation. I posted lots of videos with folks talking about that. And now, right, with this situation, you got people saying that they're anti-Democrat, and polls coming out showing that your approval rating has dropped even further than where it was previously when it was already at a record low. I don't see Democrats walking out of this one, man. I just don't see it.
Shut it down. Shut it all down. Listen, I've said it before and I will say it again. Shut the government down. The Democrats are out here literally causing problems because they want President Trump to give them over $500 million for free healthcare for illegal immigrants. So let's not worry about the Americans who don't have free healthcare. Let's not worry about the Americans who don't have food to eat. Let's not worry about our public safety with the national terrorist threats on our country that are literally living in our country. Let's worry about giving free healthcare to illegal immigrants. Absolutely not. You see, this shit and this threat, it may have worked when Biden was in office. It may have worked when Obama was in office, but it's not going to work this time. So you know what I say? I say shut it down. Shut it all down. Let them go on recess for a little bit. Let them feel what every American has felt under their reign. Because no more. The billions and billions and billions of dollars that we have put into illegal immigration that could have been made to be put to such good use here in the United States for Americans is insane. And I'm not sorry for saying it. We do not need to be funding other people's healthcare, food, and benefits that are not part of this country. We pay those taxes, Americans, and we should have a say in where that money goes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Bro, and health insurance is expensive. Why enough are we paying for illegals? Give us that cash, right? Like, this is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous that the Democrats would even think to propose such a thing. Free healthcare? What? Give us that money back, bro. Give us our money back, man. Y'all are tripping. Absolutely tripping, man. Anyway, carry on.
Chuck Schumer is screaming, 10 million people are losing their health care. He is correct. He is absolutely correct. 10 million people are losing their health care. But what Chuck Schumer has failed to specify is that none of them are American citizens. Y'all have a good night.
I'm going to have a great night if this goes on for 61 days. I'm going to have a fantastic night laughing at Democrats watching this backfire massively in their face. You know, I am going to have one hell of a night. Okay? Anyway.
How does $1.5 trillion sound for free healthcare? Oh my God. $1.5 trillion for free healthcare. Does that not sound amazing? Yeah, it truly would if it was for the American people. But see, we have this government shutdown because that's exactly what the Democrats wanted. Yeah, the Republicans wanted an extension until November, 7 weeks, I believe it was. And the Democrats were willing to do that as long as the Republicans gave $1.5 trillion to illegal immigrants so that they could get free health care. Like, screw the American people, you know, the people that it's their country. Yeah, let's not worry about the American people, but let's give $1.5 trillion to the illegal immigrants who shouldn't even be here in the first place. Okay, bye.
Yeah, man, the people are not buying the Democrats' BS. Not buying it because, of course, they, you know, Democrats are attempting to lie about wanting to give illegals money, but by and large, people aren't buying it.
Most Americans haven't even heard why Democrats want to shut the government down. When negotiations began, Democrats came to the table with a $1.5 trillion spending package. Yes, that sounds massive, but here's the kicker. It included hundreds of billions of dollars for illegal aliens' health care. Think about that. While hardworking American families are being crushed by rising premiums and medical bills, Chuck Schumer and House Democrats thought the priority should be free health care for people who broke our laws to come to this country. That's their opening demand. Republicans, led by President Trump, immediately said no. And of course, the House passed a clean resolution to keep the government open without handing taxpayer dollars to illegals. No games, just funding to keep essential services running. Democrats' response? Unless you give us $1.5 trillion, we'll shut down the government. That's not even a compromise. It's extortion. And here's the bigger question. Whose side are they really on? Because when the choice is between American citizens who are struggling and illegal immigrants who broke the law, Democrats are siding with the illegals every single time. President Trump and Republicans are siding with you, the taxpayer, the citizen, the parent trying to afford health care for your kids. This fight isn't about keeping government open. Republicans already voted to do that. It's about stopping Democrats from robbing American families to bankroll their radical agenda.
Facts. And it's funny because more and more people are realizing how terrible the Democrat Party truly is and how they really don't care about American citizens, right? They only care about themselves and their power, which is why they want to give illegals everything, because they were hoping to bring in a bunch of illegals, give them everything, and have them vote for them in perpetuity, right? It's kind of what happened to California and why that's extremely blue now, extremely liberal. But anyway, we can get into that discussion on another day. So it's just like, man, bro, you're trying to, first off, appease folks that can't actually vote for you. I know they probably hope that come 28, they'll, win back the White House and flip that around. But also, you're trying to appease a base, their voters, people who will never be satisfied with anything. So, how do you think this is going to play out for you, Democrats? Not very well. Not very well. According to the numbers in the polls, it's getting pretty ugly. It's getting real ugly. Real ugly for the Democrat Party. But, hey, man, ain't my party, so I can just sit back and laugh and enjoy the show. Y'all let me know what you thought about this in the comments below. Stay safe out there, all right? Peace and love. I'm out.